Hello. This reading is for Shelley had spoke to me about some of the things that has been going through, and I can understand um, what that is like. From what Shelley had told me was that experiencing interesting phenomena in her dreams in the astrals when she sleeps. And that it's related to saving children or helping children cross through to the other side. I myself have been doing this for many years, many years. It is very strange. I've been doing it even before I realized what was happening. And there are a lot of people here on Earth that are dream walkers, and sort of astral warriors, and warriors not in the sense as a soldier that is going into battle, but more so warrior in the ancestral tribal sense of what it means to be an individual who is integrated and lives in the heart and can face the world with an open heart no matter what happens. So this because we are, as I'm sure you know, living in a period in Earth's cycles where there are extreme polarities of light and dark. And right now it seems like it's all dark a lot of the times. And we are in a process where the dark is coming to the surface. And this is why we have things like the Epstein files coming up, things like cartels and human trafficking and organ harvesting, and so many things coming up. I'm sorry, I'm so used to talking to adults, so um, I didn't think I don't know when to listen to this, or if you want to listen to this and take the information. Um, but there are a lot of us, we're all here working uh, as teams, and there are certain soul groups that are assigned to perform in certain areas. Some soul groups are very physical, they're very mundane, very real world, and some soul groups are more skilled in the non-physical, where they do a lot of things in the astrals. And we all have equal importance, but what is not really understood for the individuals that are really activated and do a lot of work in the astrals or in the non-physical uh, dimensions. Mm. Is that everything happens first energetically. Everything happens first in the non-physical before it becomes created into the physical. It's happening first in the non-physical. So, we're moving through periods on Earth where uh, the timeline probabilities for humanity are uh, very erratic and unpredictable. And this is why this cycle that we're moving through right now has been prophesized by indigenous cultures all around the world. There are different prophecies talking about the time we are moving through right now from all around the world. And that's this time we are in right now where humanity is at a very crucial point of evolution or destruction. And there are many positive forces that are allies for us here to assist and guide humanity evolving into uh, the higher trajectory, the better timeline. However, over the past few millennias, few thousand years, we're talking very long time, there have been dark forces um, ruling Earth. And in our modern time, over the last few hundred years, there are what, some of us call today elite families, the Illuminati, those that control and govern everything behind the scenes. So everything that is happening in the world has been happening for centuries. It's just, it's just with the age of the internet, um, the information is able to be shared. And so we're more aware when things happen. For example, if there was a traffic bust, that happened someplace a couple hundred years ago, well, that news might not ever reach, the next state, the next county, or across the world. Before telegrams, everything was all news was delivered via notes. So that was one way you know, where it kept the awareness of just how systematic and dark things could be. And the age of information and internet has really rapidly changed things and has sort of stirred up a lot of chaos. And so And so, yeah, I don't even know why I'm going. I haven't even spoke about the chart yet, but uh and I feel like maybe you know about a lot of these things already, things that I'm saying, but the things that are unfolding right now in terms of agendas, right? If you heard of these agendas, the COVID, as part of an agenda, Agenda 2030 with the smart cities and all the things we see going on right now. These are things that were planned and orchestrated over 100 years ago by these elites in private rooms, and systematically through one generation after the next, they've been social engineering the perfect condition to roll out everything we are seeing happen right now. And so during this span of trying to social engineer, program, and condition, which is why, on social media or in the news, you see majority of people really going along with the puppeteering. There are many people who have awakened out of the matrix or are born gifted out of the matrix. And so we are all very powerful with just our awareness and our sovereignty. Um, And looking at art, when Shelley mentioned to me she was born 2019, I was very curious to see the chart because 2019 was the beginning. 2019 was the beginning of the end of the current world order, leading into 2020, where the major catalyst was unleashed, the major catalyst being COVID. And the reason why 2019 is the beginning is because we have Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn conjunct her. I mean, I'm sorry. We have her Pluto and her Saturn in a conjunction in Capricorn. Her Saturn is at 18 degrees Capricorn, and her Pluto is at 22 degrees Capricorn. But she also has the south node at 24 degrees Capricorn. So she has a little Capricorn stellium going on here in the sixth house. And opposite the south node is always going to be the north node. So her north node is 24 degrees Cancer, while her moon is at 27 degrees Cancer, forming a conjunction to the north node. So this is very powerful here that she's born with. Um, I am also a Saturn in Capricorn individual. So I mentioned to Shelley that it's very interesting that she is bringing that Shelley is bringing to my awareness because we share this Saturn in Capricorn energy, which attributes to the same type of responsibilities and sort of missions we have here. So people who, so because Saturn is a generational thing, so it's every 30 years Saturn returns to a sign, and it's almost like uh, passing the baton, right? Passing the baton to the next generation here. Um, so Saturn is at home in Capricorn, meaning Saturn rules the sign Capricorn. And Saturn is a planet that is all about rules, structures. Saturn instills limitations and restricts. And Saturn also governs military, government, structures and systems, banks and corporations. So anything that has a level of authority that governs any aspect of reality, that falls under Saturn's domain. So for example, the CDC, right? The CDC is an organization, it's a body. It's a body that exists that has been given authority to govern the world of medical information, news, and health, right? So that is Saturnian. Same thing with police, with the FBI, with the CIA. Um, so these are all Saturnian things here. And so people who are born with Saturn and Capricorn, they're born with innate they're born with an innate level of maturity and discipline within themselves. These Saturn and Capricorn individuals, they are hyper aware of what is required out of them. And then, but not only that, she also has Pluto conjunct Saturn, which is a very rare occurrence here. This happens once, maybe once every 35 to 40 years. Saturn and Pluto conjunction. I give or take a few years. I could be a little bit off, but it's definitely over 30 years when a Saturn Pluto conjunction happens. And it's this is a rare thing, but it's also very powerful and not easy. It does come with its challenges, but it's not bad. It's not like a bad thing. It's just it's a lot of power and potential capabilities. And because Saturn also governs karma and integrity and responsibility, the individuals born with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, they have to go through certain uh, tests in their lives to unlock more of what they are capable of doing in with reality in the physical matrix. So Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. Pluto in Greek mythology is Hades, Lord of the Underworld. And in astrology, the underworld is not hell. It's not hell. It's not this hell domain or this underworld, this upside down domain. The underworld in astrology represents the deep unconscious and the shadows that reside in the deep unconscious. So it's, Pluto is deeply psychoanalytical. It's psychoanalyzing um, unconscious behaviors in oneself and in others to reveal these hidden aspects. And so that's why Pluto also is the planet of transformation, because once we become aware of something that was previously unconscious or kept secret, then there is a challenge to the ego. Then there is a challenge to the identity of self, and that challenge brings us to a point of either transforming or suppressing it and ignoring. So, all that to say, being, the moment I saw this Saturn Pluto conjunction right here in Capricorn, is that you know, as young as she is, her spirit is quite literally an authority of the underworld. She is a high level spirit that has authority in the processes of death, the afterlife, and supernatural phenomena. And also, she is an authority of hidden knowledge. So um, within her spirit, and in due time, as she goes through certain rites of passages and initiations, and these rites of passages and initiations aren't something like she's going to a Buddhist monastery and going through initiation. No, it's the universe orchestrating things in real life that will naturally unfold, that will bring her to karmic choice points that will pressurize her to awaken and realize certain things. Um, and so in a way, there are a lot of hermetic seals that are protecting her. She has a lot of protection, which is really good. She has a lot of protection, and there are a lot of hermetic seals around her field, around her auric energy that are protecting her and guiding her. And so when she goes through these certain passage points and initiations, these hermetic seals will turn and shift and unlock more of her greater life path, her destiny, while allowing her to integrate and utilize some very high level, powerful spiritual skills. And the other thing is, she's not really somebody who is here to do the run-of-the-mill, day-to-day hustle and bustle lifestyle. She's someone that's more at home, or should be developing more of a spiritual identity and connection. So she is someone who operates more in the non-physical realms. And the reason why I say that is because her north node and her moon are in the 12th house, okay? While her Saturn and her Pluto and her Capricorn are in the 6th house. So the 6th house, this is the domain of service to others, being of service to others, but even more specifically, being of service to to those or issues that don't have a voice. So the sixth house is can be of service to senior citizens, to animals, to nature, and to children or people with disabilities. So this is having a deep compassion for where there is suffering and wanting to serve in some type of way. So that's the sixth house. The 12th house, more about the sixth house. So the sixth house is not only just service and our work life, but it's our daily habits. It's our daily habits and our health and wellness. All fall under the sixth house. And the 12th house, this is the domain of that transcends reality. This is the domain of where Pisces comes from. And guess who's a Pisces? Sylvie. Sylvie has a Sun in Pisces, a Mercury in Pisces, a Vesta in Pisces, and a Neptune in Pisces, all here in the eighth house. And guess what planet rules the eighth house? Pluto. Okay. So that we have a lot of what's called mutual receptivity. So the fact that uh, so she has a lot of mutual receptivity, which basically means there's a lot of support here. So her north node is in Cancer. What planet governs Cancer? The moon. Where is her moon? Right here in Cancer, conjunct the north node. That is a lot of support. And where is the north node and moon? In her 12th house. What sign governs the 12th house? Pisces. Where is her sun? And she has sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, Vesta in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, all here in the eighth house. What planet governs the eighth house? Boom, Pluto. Pluto here is in Capricorn. So a lot of mutual receptivity here. Again, going back to the 12th house, though. So the 12th house, this is a non-physical domain. The 12th house is the domain of the subconscious mind, belief systems, and imagination, fantasy. The 12th house is a very complex domain because in the 12th house, is where we also uh, uh, assign mental illnesses. So people who suffer from schizophrenia, hysteria, irrational phobias, drug addictions, um, the all this kind of suffering, these like mental sufferings fall under the 12th house domain here. And I'm not saying suffers from any of this kind of stuff. No, I'm explaining to you what the 12th house represents, all the things that get crammed into the category of the 12th house. And so the 12th house also governs mental institutions and prisons. And the 12th house is where we also find refugees. So the story of being a refugee, right? Typically, refugees, they're fleeing an aftermath of devastation from a place of where they once called home, and the trauma that comes from being displaced and searching for a new place to call home and dealing with the awkwardness of not originating from the new place, but here you are now. So it's this the 12th house is it's so complex and deeply profound. But also in the 12th house is where we can transcend reality. The 12th house is where we can transcend samsara and access higher dimensional realms. The 12th house is where we can activate our Christ consciousness or our Buddha consciousness. The 12th house is what allows us to have true supernatural, spiritual experiences. And when I say supernatural, spiritual experiences, I'm not just talking about angels and cool, positive things. I'm talking about the light and the dark because there are dark spiritual forces and there are light spiritual forces. So, in the 12th house, this is where we have to understand the keys of transcending reality. And the keys are surrender, forgiveness, and unconditional love. So, because the 12th house, with it being a place of the subconscious mind and the labyrinth of mirrors to process one's mental programming and conditioning, and as we move through life, sometimes life conditions us in certain ways, and sometimes we unknowingly form negative beliefs. And so in the 12th house, we can get trapped in the nightmare, where we can get trapped in a nightmare in a loop that is negative. And so let's say, you're trapped in this nightmare because so many bad things happened and you're holding a lot of shame. You're holding a lot of shame, you're holding a lot of guilt, you're holding a lot of remorse, and now you're trapped. Those feelings anchor you down and they trap you in your own suffering, in your own hell realm. And in order to transcend that nightmare and experience a whole new reality, we have to forgive. We have to access a higher unconditional love, and we need to surrender to the power of the divine, to the power of spirit, and essentially dissolve our ego. So, I said a lot there about the 12th house, and the reason why I spent that time speaking about the 12th house is because her north node and her moon are here, which means all of those themes I talked about are going to be very important things for her to understand. So the north node represents destiny, fate, the future, and the unknown. Whereas the south node, her south node in Capricorn, the south node represents the past, past lives, and the south node is the karmic bank. So it is the karmic bank of all of her past lives. The south node is also what's familiar and our comfort zone. Excuse me. So the south node is can give us an indication as to oh, and what's interesting too is Jeremy has the same south node in Capricorn and north node in Cancer. Yes, I've pulled up Jeremy's chart and Shelly and I have looked at it. South node in Capricorn, these people have lived a lot of past lives where they had to um, form very strong self-discipline. These are people that were very motivated in life to achieve high level status and success. These are people who governed. They either governed corporations, they governed society, or they build things of legacy. So these are people who, like let's say the founding fathers of America, right? So this is that kind of energy. It's with that South Node in Capricorn. It's living past lives where you were part of such high level operations where integrity, discipline, rules, systems, and structures were very crucial to build something real and that will last empires. So she has that karmic energy. So and then the other thing too is when you have planets that are conjunct your south node, it activates the gate even more. So I want you to think of the north node and the south node as two gates. And she has these gates very active in her lifetime, in this lifetime. A lot of people don't have planets near their nodes, and so it's going to require certain transits to come around to activate their destiny. She's born with these two gates already active. So this is very much, she very much has a life path destiny that's very real, and it's already unfolding now. So the thing about having planets conjunct the south node is that one, it makes it harder to go towards your destiny. It adds more anchors to staying in the cyclical pattern of your karmic past. And then the other thing is that it also allows you to borrow certain skills and powers from the past. And so Pluto, right? So Pluto, oopsies, where did I go here? So Pluto, um, Pluto, as I mentioned, is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. But Pluto also governs secrets, the occults, hidden societies. So if you can think about like ancient Egypt, right? In ancient Egypt, there were certain echelons of high priests and high priestesses, and you had to go through certain initiations to acquire the next level of occult meaning hidden knowledge. So you had to go through that. So with her Pluto conjunct her South Node, the way I see this is she is coming that so the thing that I'm seeing here, the thing that I'm seeing here of who is a higher soul level is someone who's already achieved high level statuses of spiritual mastery and has obtained very profound hidden knowledge. And it's hidden knowledge that is forgotten, that is erased. Okay. And what she's also here to do is to reveal secrets. She's here to reveal secrets so she can enter places that are trying to stay secret. And I mean when I say enter, I mean in a non-physical sense, such as her dream traveling, enter to places in because the thing about the spiritual world is that it is just as real as the physical world. And there are a lot of high level magicians and masters right now, both on the light, both and the dark, and we are actively in a spiritual war. And everything we're seeing in the mundane is the aftermath of things happening in the spiritual forefronts. So this is very interesting here. And then with that Saturn here, with that, because she also has that Saturn here, the way I kind of see this is she has unfinished business. So she has unfinished business going on here. And what she's here to do is to challenge the current establishment. She's here to challenge and expose lies within the government, lies within the empire. And very, very powerful. She's not only meant to challenge it, but she's part of a generation that's here to destroy it. She's part of a literally part of a generation that's here to destroy everything because it is false and built out of lies and not in integrity, and help set the new grounds for a new world civilization to start coming into order that is realigned and reharmonized with the original divine templates for humanity. Oh man, I'm getting chills. This is incredible. And again, like, you know, I'm, I'm sitting here on my free time. So there's, I can go a lot more deeper into these things if you want to talk sometime, or I can write it down. Sometimes writing it out is, I can concentrate better. Um, but yeah, this is a lot here. So now going to her north node, right? So her south node in Capricorn, right? So she's done a lot of work, but because her north node is in Cancer along with her moon, she is here to be deeply connected. Because what's so awesome about her dreams, because the 12th house is the domain of dreaming, right? Because what, how does science explain dreaming, right? It is the subconscious venting information because the subconscious is a large majority of our brain, of our personality, right? The subconscious is what, about 88% of our brain, of our personality, and the subconscious mind is connected to everything, right? It is through meditation where we can move into the subconscious mind and do things such as remote viewing, right? Where we can connect because in the quantum mechanic of things, everything is connected in one way or another. So I'm getting a little carried away here, but the subconscious, the 12th house and the sign Pisces, which she has Sun in Pisces and Mercury in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, the 12th house and Pisces energy, dreaming, okay? She is a dreamer, all right? And so am I. I am also a dreamer. I have memories of reoccurring dreams going as far back as 5 years old. And these were very strange, highly unusual, and disturbing dreams for a 5 year old child to have. And my entire life, I have been going through these strange events in the dream realm to the point where I even dreamt about COVID unfolding the way it did exactly 1 year before COVID happened. I'm even writing a published story about it because it's so crazy the things that occurred. So she is a dream walker. She is building things in the astrals and she's helping clear the underworld in the astral planes. But not only that, she is a gatekeeper of the passages of death of the afterlife, which is very ancient Egyptian. I'm feeling a lot of ancient Egyptian high level priestess energy coming from this chart coming here. So she is building. She's here to dream and imagine and create. But the beautiful thing about this, remember, we're working as a team. So it doesn't mean she needs to be someone that needs to get a degree and learn social economics and learn architecture. No, because somebody else will do that. We're all working together. So she's here to really anchor things from a higher plane and clear the spaces energetically so that way there is room for what her teammates can then do it forward into action in the physical world. So with that, she may also experience throughout this lifetime deep isolation, um, deep isolation, even among her peers, even among people she calls her friends. There will be moments throughout her life where she will feel lost in where she belongs with others, and that's okay. What's important is that she develops a practice in meditating and connecting to her higher self and her spiritual teams. So, having somebody that can help her, um, that can teach her meditation and go under hypnosis and just to understand her inner voice, her inner guidance. So, silence is very important for her being able to understand the importance of sitting still, of sitting in one place in your room or in nature, in stillness and in silence, so you can hear. Because that's what she needs to do. She needs to learn how to hear what the divine forces, her spiritual guidance team, are assisting her towards. So that's going to be very important. So at times she may feel very lonely, but the thing is for someone like this with this kind of chart, she's never alone. She is enshrouded by so much spiritual forces that are protecting her and assisting her, which is very beautiful. And then she has her moon here conjunct the Cancer as well. So again, Cancer, whereas Capricorn is the CEO of the zodiac, right? I've built an empire. I am the CEO. I am in charge of this organization. Cancer is the high priestess. Cancer is the nurturer, the healer. I want to heal. I am the nurturer. I'm very empathic. So she is destined to become a high priestess healer. And that high priestess status is not really something she's newly obtaining. It's something that she's already acquired from her past life experiences. And so she's on a journey of remembering this, Okay, but it's going to be very confusing because there's been so much to erase our true history and to confuse everybody. So she's on a journey of remembering who she is and what she's capable of, but in a new personality and in a new meat suit. Very interesting here. Super empathic, very psychic, very, very, very psychic here with the 12th house. Now, uh, I said a lot just about these domains here. The next thing I want to point your attention to is her stellium going on here in the eighth house. So, if you remember, I mentioned what planet rules the eighth house? Pluto. So, just as how I mentioned, Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation, the eighth house is the domain of death, rebirth, and transformation. And she has her Chiron here in Aries, her Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, Vesta in Pisces, and her Neptune here in Pisces as well. So this is a lot of energy in the eighth house, which means she is, she really is here as a light to expose what is operating in the shadows, what is happening underground, what is happening beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what the mind can see. So, someone like her is very dangerous. Someone like her is very dangerous to organizations that have been here for a very long time, where they operate in secret. We're talking very powerful being, very powerful psychic being here, with an incredible potential. Um, it's amazing. It really is amazing here to see this chart. Um, so Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces. And she's also a Mercury retrograde here in Pisces behind the Sun. So even more interesting, she has a very rare mind. She has a very rare mind and a very rare type of thinking, which is also going to add to the experiences she may go through in life of struggling to relate and connect with others. Her thinking is different. Her communication is different, and that's okay. That is okay. So Mercury and Pisces. So Mercury, Mercury is the planet that governs the brain. Mercury governs the mind, the brain, the two hemispheres of the brain, and our nervous system. Mercury governs communication and channels of communications. So, for example, if I were to pinprick my leg right here, there are all kinds of nerves in my leg that are going to communicate and send signals straight to my brain, right? Communication, pathways, networking. So that's Mercury. Mercury is information and the mind's ability to interpret information and how we also communicate and express, finding the words to communicate the information we are holding within our minds. Mercury is very confused in Pisces because Mercury is very left brain oriented. I need my logic, I need my facts, I need my math, I need my frames to understand where I am and what's happening here. But remember, Pisces is a sign that transcends reality. Pisces dissolves the framework. Pisces does not care about your mathematical formulas to measure gravity because there are other dimensions that totally shatter those laws. And so, how real is it, anyways? And so, Mercury is very confused in Pisces. Mercury in Pisces is like being is like having is like being born with your mind slightly under the influence of some type of mind altering substance. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It just means that this mind receives information and interprets it very differently than other minds. And so Pisces, remember, Pisces is the sign of dreaming, symbols, the subconscious, right? And ancient tribes, ancient cultures all around the world were very big on symbols, okay? I encourage you to study the Aboriginal tribes of dreaming, the art of dreaming, as well as the indigenous folks in Mexico, the Naguas, right? The Naguas, the dreamers. These were shamans, these were warriors that devoted their entire lives to master the art of dreaming because they understood dreaming as an actual real world we can access through the subconscious mind. So, and this is where we get a lot of symbols from, a lot of symbolism. So Mercury and Pisces, this is having a mind that is trying to get, so Mercury is the mind, okay? The sun, which her sun is in Pisces, the sun is conscious awareness. And conscious awareness is different than the mind. They're not the same thing. We can be processing information before our conscious awareness actually understands it. So, for example, trying to explain to a child how to ride a bike before the child has ever seen a bike, has ever been on a bike, right? Hey, kid, this is a bicycle. It's got two wheels, it's got handlebars, it has a saddle, it's got brakes, there's a pedals. You move the pedals and there's a chain. And here's what happens when you ride it. You need speed and you need balance and you need control and you need hand-eye coordination, right? Here's all this information. Okay, I have all this information, but I'm not really quite sure what all that means. Not until you're on the bike, not until you see the bike, not until you're riding the bike. Now that information has become conscious awareness and understanding. So the sun, conscious awareness, Mercury, the mind and information. So her mind is almost constantly trying to make her conscious awareness understand through symbolisms and dreams and synchronicities of things happening around her that don't make sense to the mundane logical world. So, for example, these are the so Mercury and Pisces in historical or ancient or tribal times. These were the type of minds in the tribes where if they were to wake up in the morning and come out of their teepee and see that a spider weaved a web, at the transition points of leaving their teepee and coming into their teepee, they would analyze the web. They would analyze the spider web. Oh, a web here. What does it mean? How symmetrical is the pattern? How chaotic is the pattern? What is it a full moon? Is it a new moon tonight? What are these things that nature is doing and what kind of cycle am I in and how can I interpret that? So and that can be very confusing. It can be very, very confusing because she's always going to have a sense. She's always going to have a sense of something long before she becomes aware of what it is, which is why it's very important for her to learn meditation and techniques of trusting her intuition. And it's also very important that you guys learn to trust her intuition also, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it seems irrational, because in the future, something can happen, right? So very, very, very important to trust this person here. Um, so yeah, Mercury and Pisces, and she's born with a Mercury and Pisces in retrograde. So yeah, she has a lot of natural skills, but if she applies just a little bit of effort to understand and develop, meditation and connecting and the concepts of a higher self and spiritual guidances and ancestries, that's really going to help even more with this whole process here. Um, and then her Chiron is in Aries here at 1 degree. So part of the wound she's going to experience in life is a wound of identity. Okay. So there's an identity wound. Who am I? I'm different. I'm not like everyone else. I don't know how to be myself because myself is so different from everything else going on. So how can I authentically be who I am in a world that doesn't accept what I have to offer, what I have to share, what I have to explain. So part of her wound is learning how to develop strength and courage and embodiment of who she is, even if she is rejected. Um, so yeah, I mean that's all. I'll leave it. I'll leave it all at that for now. I mean, she's got the Neptune and Pisces, that's a whole thing there. And then her Venus is in Aquarius. And oh yeah, you know what? Before we go, let's see where things are at right now. Um, okay, so um, okay, so Jupiter. I'm curious to know when these dreams started. But I wonder, yeah, I'm curious to know because Jupiter this year is in Cancer. And so Jupiter entered Cancer last year, I think in June, May, or July, like right around then. And Jupiter at some point made it all the way to about 25 degrees Cancer. So conjunct the North Node here. And then Jupiter retrograded, meaning started to move in reverse. So this Jupiter in Cancer that crossed that made a conjunction to her North Node here, this was an activation point. So I'd be curious to know if the dreams or uh, the awareness of the dreams surface sometime last year around September, October, November. Um, so if I go back in time, so let's see, if I go back in time a few months, so here we are, boom, October. So you see, in October of last year, Jupiter was here at 22 degrees Cancer, forming a conjunction to that North Node. And then if I go forward one more month into November. Boom. Look at November 1st, right there, 2025. Jupiter is at 25 degrees Cancer, conjunct her North Node at 25 degrees Cancer. So if you remember, the North Node represents fate, fated events, destiny, the future, and the unknown. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion, opportunities, good luck, fortune, and higher education, higher knowledge. So anything that Jupiter comes into contact with, Jupiter is going to expand and inflate that energy with the intention of bringing positive experience behind that. So with this Jupiter crossing over her, and this is the first time she's ever experienced Jupiter activate her North Node here. So this is something that's going to happen every 12 years. So this was the first time it happened. So every 12 years, when Jupiter comes here, and it's going to activate more and more levels of what her destiny is, what she's capable of doing here. And a lot of her work is doing things in the physical, in the non-physical realms. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see that. But at the same time, yeah, um grounding is very important. Understanding nervous energy is very important. Understanding what hypochondria is very important. um so she doesn't get trapped in any kind of uh anxious or stressful mental loops that then also um uh unintentionally cause health effects that weren't real before but are now real now, but are real then. Yeah. Let's see. And yeah, and then so we're here, look here we are now, okay? So this is so right now she has Neptune and Saturn and Aries that recently crossed over her Chiron. So that's a big deal there of coming into a new reimagined sense of who she is, what reality even is, and how to navigate it. Yeah. So this is the first mark of her realizing this identity strangeness. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about you. Nothing. I don't know nothing. I'm just speaking astrologically here, what a lot of these things could mean. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope this information was helpful. I hope this information was useful. And if you got any questions, just let Shelly know, and I know she will definitely have me do something for you guys. All right. Thank you. Peace.